My family said helping my brother move was more important than my career Reddit stories. One dismissal exposed years of favoritism, sacrifice, and quiet resentment. Choosing myself turned a simple weekend conflict into a family reckoning. Hi, I'm Jake, 26, and the day everything in my life tilted sideways started with a perfect vertical weld and my mom calling me like the world was on fire. I was in the shop finishing a vertical pass on a high-pressure joint, the kind where one distracted second means grinding the whole thing out and starting over. So when my phone buzzed in my pocket, then buzzed again, then again, I ignored it. You don't answer calls mid-weld unless you hate your future self. I finished the pass, lifted my hood, inspected the bead. Clean. Tight. Exactly what it needed to be. Only then did I peel off my gloves and check my phone. 3 missed calls from Mom. That never meant anything good. I stepped outside into the cool April air, boots crunching on gravel, and called her back. She answered on the first ring. Jakey, finally. I've been trying to reach you. I was working, Mom. What's up? We need your help this weekend. It's very exciting. She had that pitch in her voice parents get right before dropping something you definitely don't want. I rubbed my eyes. I'd already worked a 10-hour shift and still had 2 hours of studying left for my Level 3 certification exam on Saturday. Help with what? Your brother's moving. Cameron found this amazing new apartment in the city. Floor-to-ceiling windows, rooftop gym, it's just gorgeous. My stomach dipped. I already knew where this was going. When's he moving? Saturday. 9 a.m. sharp. Your father already reserved a U-Haul. I froze. Mom, my certification exam is Saturday. At 10. Silence on her end. Then a light, dismissive "Oh. Well, can't you reschedule it?" No, Mom. It's the final exam. I've been preparing for 2 years. Honey, this is important. Cameron really needs help. You know how moving is. My exam is important too. Her voice sharpened instantly. Jake, it's just a test. You can take it another time. Cameron can't reschedule his move-in date. There is no other time. The next exam is in 6 months. So you'll wait 6 months. It's not the end of the world. But Cameron needs help now. I pinched the bridge of my nose. Why can't he hire movers? Because family helps family. She snapped. He's your brother. And honestly, I'm disappointed you're even hesitating. There it was, the family trump card, slapped on the table like I was supposed to fold immediately. I'm taking my exam, Mom. You're being selfish. This is typical Jake behavior, always putting yourself first, never thinking about the family. I could have listed every pipe I'd repaired for them, every weekend I'd sacrificed fixing their house while Cameron networked. But what was the point? They never remembered. I have to go. Still have work. Jake, don't you dare hang. I hung up. Stared at my truck. Breathed. Then went back inside and finished my shift. That night, studying at my kitchen table, I got a text from Dad. Your mother told me about Saturday. Very disappointed in you. Family comes first. I didn't respond. Another text. Come to dinner tomorrow. We need to discuss this as a family. Fantastic. Because nothing says family bonding like an ambush disguised as lasagna night. But I showed up anyway. And that's where everything really started to unravel. I showed up to my parents' house Wednesday at 6 p.m., right on schedule for the ritualistic guild parade. Same beige siding, same pristine lawn, same doormat that said, "Family is everything," with the kind of irony that should have gotten it arrested. Cameron was already at the kitchen table with his laptop open, tapping away like the CEO of Pretending to Be Busy Incorporated. "Hey bro," he said, flashing me the grin he used on LinkedIn profile photos. "Glad you're here. Check this out." He spun his laptop toward me like he was unveiling the Mona Lisa. There it was, the apartment. Hardwood floors. Glossy white cabinets. Windows big enough to accidentally fly a drone into. A Peloton in the building gym, because of course. 26th floor. 2-bedroom. 2-bath. Insanely modern, he said with reverence. How much? I asked, already bracing myself. $2,600 a month. But it's worth it. Amenities, location, the whole vibe. This is where you live when you're building a brand. Right. A brand. Not financial stability. Not common sense. A brand. Mom brought out a casserole like she was presenting a peace treaty. Isn't it exciting? Our Cameron moving up in the world. Dad nodded. That's what success looks like. Hard work paying off. I didn't say anything. I just chewed faster so the conversation couldn't catch me. After a few minutes of Cameron monologuing about how the skyline view improved his professional energy, he dropped the bomb. So, bro, U-Haul's at 9 Saturday. We should be done by noon. I set down my fork. I have my certification exam Saturday. He laughed. Oh yeah? Mom mentioned something about that. Certification for what again? Welding. Yeah, can't you just reschedule? It's not like it's a real exam. Something in my chest tightened. It is a real exam. Come on, man. It's not like college finals. Just reschedule it. I can't. The next one isn't for 6 months. Dad sighed loudly at the ceiling, as if asking the heavens for patience. Jake, your brother needs help. This is more important. More important than the thing I've been busting my ass for? The one thing that would raise my salary by 20 grand overnight? Mom chimed in sweetly. Career, honey? Let's be realistic. You're a welder. Cameron is a professional marketing consultant with an MBA. He's building a life. You're just... She waved her hand, searching for the right dismissal. You're playing pretend with metal. The table went dead silent. Cameron looked awkwardly at his casserole like it might protect him. Dad just kept eating like nothing had detonated. I stood up slowly. I've been working 50-hour weeks for 2 years learning a skilled trade. This exam qualifies me to make $75,000 a year. Dad laughed. Welders don't make that much. Certified welders do. But you wouldn't know that because you never asked. Cameron leaned back, smirking. Dude, just skip the test. Help me move. You're being dramatic. I grabbed my jacket. Jake, sit down, Dad said. We're not finished. I am. Mom stood too, flustered. If you walk out that door, don't expect us to support you anymore. I froze, turned around. You never did. Her face twisted. You're making a huge mistake. I walked out anyway. Got into my truck, hands shaking, and drove home. I tried to study, but my brain was boiling. At midnight I forced myself to start reading. Didn't stop until 3. The next morning I woke up exhausted, pissed, and more determined than ever. If they wanted Saturday to be a test, fine. I was going to pass mine. Saturday morning, I woke up before my alarm, heart pounding, brain buzzing, hands already aching from the hours of practice. I barely slept, but adrenaline did the job coffee was supposed to. The testing facility was an hour away. I left early, partly to be responsible, partly to avoid sitting in my apartment thinking about my family's voices echoing in my head. When I parked at 8:30, I checked my phone. 14 missed calls. 8 from Mom. 4 from Dad. 2 from Cameron. I made the mistake of listening to the voicemails. Mom, Jake, please call us back. Cameron really needs you today. Don't be stubborn. Dad, this is incredibly selfish behavior. You're disappointing us. Cameron, seriously? Are you really doing this? I had to pay movers $800. Hope your little test is worth it, jerk. My jaw clenched so hard I heard my molars complain. I put my phone on silent, shoved it in the glove compartment, and walked in. The exam was grueling, 4 hours of practicals, measuring tolerances down to decimal points while instructors loomed like quiet judgmental owls. Then the written test. Metallurgy, safety codes, pressure tolerances, the works. By the end, my hands were trembling, but not with fear. With certainty. I'd nailed it. When I got back to my truck and turned on my phone, 6 more missed calls lit up the screen like a fire alarm. I ignored them, drove home, collapsed on the couch, and slept 14 straight hours. 2 weeks later, the email arrived. Congratulations. You have successfully completed Level 2 Industrial Welding Certification. I read it 3 times. The letters blurred, and for once in my life, it wasn't exhaustion, it was relief, pride, and the kind of emotion I don't usually admit to having. I called my boss. Jake. Just about to call you. Congratulations. Thanks. We're putting you on the pipeline project next month. Specialized work. High-pressure systems. Starting salary $78,000. My brain screeched like a welding torch hitting cold steel. $78,000? Yep. You earned it. Welcome to the big leagues. When we hung up, I just sat there staring at my wall as the number spun around in my head like a jackpot. 78,000. From playing pretend with metal. I almost picked up the phone to call my mom, to tell her, to prove something, I don't even know what. But then I remembered her voice. It's not a real career path. You're just working with your hands. Helping Cameron is more important. The phone slipped from my hand. I called my roommate Marcus instead. Bro, that's incredible. He shouted. We're celebrating tonight. Yeah. Thanks. You gonna tell your family? I paused. No. Not yet. Because I already knew exactly what would happen when they found out. And I wasn't ready for the storm. But the storm was already coming. Harder and faster than I imagined. My family stayed quiet for 3 peaceful weeks, which should have been my first clue something disastrous was brewing. Silence wasn't their style. Silence meant scheming. Week 4 on the pipeline project, I was knee-deep in fittings and pressure tests when my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Hey man, can I borrow $500? Rent's tight this month. Cameron. I stared at the message like it was written in crayon by a toddler who'd just discovered dishonesty. This man, who made $55K, paid $2,600 in rent, and leased a BMW he liked to rev at stoplights just to hear it purr, that man was asking me, the pretend welder, for money? I typed. No. 3 dots appeared instantly. Seriously? I'm your brother. You make $55K and choose to pay $2,600 in rent. That's your problem, Cameron. Wow. So that's how it is now. Yeah, that's how it is. Blocked. 15 minutes later, another unknown number called. I picked up without thinking. Jake? Mom's voice. Tight. Strained. What? It's about Cameron. I waited. He's in trouble. Big trouble. He got laid off 3 weeks ago. Of course she didn't tell me then. Why update the disappointing son? He can't make rent, Mom continued. Can't pay his car lease or credit cards. He's drowning, Jake. And your father and we've been helping, but we can't keep up. Not my problem. He's your brother. He's an adult who made bad choices. We need you to help. Just a few thousand. I hung up. Didn't even give her the satisfaction of a dramatic speech. I just sat in my truck, breathing slowly, staring at my bank app. $8,000 in savings. The first time in my life I'd ever had 4 digits in the bank. Money I earned sweating under a hood, burning through scrap metal, practicing for hours until my hands shook. And now they wanted me to hand it over so Cameron could keep pretending he lived in a luxury commercial? No. A week later, Dad texted. We need to talk in person. This is serious. I didn't respond. Cameron's eviction hearing is Tuesday. Please call. I blocked him too. 2 days later, someone knocked at my apartment at 8 p.m. Marcus peeked through the peephole. Dude, it's your dad. I opened the door a few inches. What are you doing here? You blocked our numbers. Yeah. Because I meant it. Please, Jake. 5 minutes. Against my better judgment, my lifelong curse, I let him in. He sat on my couch, exhausted, deflated. The first time he'd ever looked old. Cameron's in real trouble, he said. Lost the BMW. Evicted today. Back at our house with $20,000 in credit card debt. Okay. That's all you have to say? What do you want me to say? I want you to help. Of course he did. He's your brother. We're a family. I laughed. A short, sharp sound I didn't recognize. No. We're a hierarchy. Cameron at the top. Me when you need heavy lifting or free labor. That's never been family. Dad's face tightened. I can't believe how selfish you've become. I stood. I'm not selfish. I just stopped being your backup plan for the golden child. Don't talk about your brother like that. Get out. What? Get out of my apartment. He stared at me, stunned. Like I'd broken the script he thought I'd follow forever. Then he left. Didn't say goodbye. Didn't look back. When the door clicked shut, my hands were shaking, but not from fear. From something new. Something dangerous. A boundary. 3 weeks after my dad stormed out of my apartment, I was on site tightening a flange when my foreman walked over, squinting toward the gate. Jake, someone's asking for you. Who? Your brother. My stomach sank like a toolbox off a scaffold. I walked to the gate, and there he was, Cameron, leaning against a beat-up Honda Civic that definitely did not come with a rooftop gym or Bluetooth mood lighting. He looked awful. Hollow eyes, patchy stubble, clothes wrinkled like he'd slept in them for days. Jake, thank God. I need to talk to you. I'm working. It'll just take a minute. Please. I crossed my arms. He launched into it immediately. I'm screwed, man. Completely screwed. Lost my job, my apartment, my car. I'm back at Mom and Dad's. Sleeping in my childhood bed at 27. He paused like he expected sympathy. Okay, I said. Okay? He blinked hard. Dude, I need help. A loan. 10,000. I'll pay you back. No. Jake, please. Credit cards are destroying me. I can't get interviews. I'm drowning here. You spent $2,600 a month on rent making $55K. You leased a BMW you couldn't afford. You lived like you made double what you did. That's on you. I was networking. Building my brand. No. That's how you go broke. Getting ahead is living below your means, saving money, and building actual skills. Not pretending to be rich. His face twisted into something ugly. Says the welder? Yeah. Says the welder making $78K. He jerked. Wait, 78? Pipeline job. Exactly what I told you and everyone else at dinner. That's more than I was making. I know. He swallowed, desperate now. And you still won't loan me 10 grand? Correct. We're brothers. We're biologically related. That's it. His mouth opened and closed like a malfunctioning goldfish. Then he snapped. You're jealous. That's what this is. Jealous I went to college and you didn't. Jealous I had a real career and you're just. I stepped closer. I was never jealous, Cameron. You were just impossible to impress. You dismissed my work, mocked my career, treated me like help the entire time. And now you can't handle that I built something without you. I turned and walked toward the site. Behind me, he shouted, You're abandoning me. I didn't look back. That night, Marcus found me in the kitchen stirring pasta like it owed me money. Dude, you good? Told him everything. Marcus shook his head. Sounds like he finally hit rock bottom. I poked the pasta. Rock bottom looks a lot like entitlement with a cracked Honda Civic. You think you were too harsh? Marcus asked. No. He smiled. Then you're growing. But the real shift came 2 months later. I got a Facebook message from Aunt Linda, Mom's sister, the family's unofficial historian and the only one who didn't talk down to me growing up. Jake, I saw your mother's posts about family drama. Wanted to hear your side. I told her everything. Every detail. From the dinner insult to Cameron showing up at my job. 10 minutes later, she wrote, I'm so sorry. I had no idea they treated you like that. Your mom always made it sound like Cameron was the success story and you were struggling. I'm not struggling. I know. And I'm proud of you. Then she asked something dangerous. Do you want me to correct the family narrative? I hesitated. Then, do whatever you want. I'm done managing their version of me. 20 minutes later, the family Facebook group exploded. Uncle Tom, been saying this for years. Cameron lived way beyond his means. Cousin Michelle, welders make bank. Jake's doing amazing. Mom, Linda, you don't understand the full situation. Jake abandoned the family. Aunt Linda, Patricia, he didn't abandon anyone. You dismissed his career, prioritized Cameron's move over his exam, and now expect him to pay for Cameron's debts. That's not abandonment. That's boundaries. Mom left the group. Cameron stayed silent. And for the first time in a long time, the truth wasn't a secret anymore. 3 months after Aunt Linda blew up the family narrative like she'd strapped C4 to a scrapbook, my boss called me into his office. Jake, you're doing excellent work. Reliable. Skilled. Professional. We want to promote you, lead welder on the pipeline project. $85,000 a year. Team of 4 under you. I sat there trying to look composed while my inner child threw confetti and screamed. Thank you, sir. I'm ready. He clapped my shoulder. You earned it. That night, I called Aunt Linda. She answered on the second ring. Jake. Everything okay? Better than okay. I got promoted. Lead welder. $85K. Oh, sweetheart, that's incredible. I'm so proud of you. She meant it. Which still felt strange, hearing pride without strings attached. Just be ready, she said. Word will get around. Your parents will reach out. I know. What will you say? Nothing. They weren't proud of me when I needed it. I'm not handing them the victory lap now. She laughed softly. Good. Keep your boundaries. 2 weeks later, Mom called from a new number, her third new number since I'd blocked the others. I answered by accident, thinking it was a work contact. Jake. Oh, honey, I'm so glad you picked up. I stood there frozen like someone had hit my emotional emergency brake. What do you want? We heard about your promotion. $85,000. That's just wonderful. Silence. And we've been thinking. We were too hard on you about the exam, about everything. We're sorry. There was the hook. You could practically hear the fishing reel clicking. I waited. And since you're doing so well now, we were hoping you could help Cameron. Just a small loan. There it was. Mom, no. He's struggling, Jake. He needs support. He's family. You're only calling because you found out I make more money now. Not because you're sorry. That's not true. We've been feeling terrible. You felt terrible when Cameron crashed. Not when you dismissed my career. Not when you told me helping him move was more important than my future. Jake, please. Just $15,000. 15? He needs a debt consolidation program and living expenses while he looks for work. Mom, you're asking me to pay for the aftermath of choices you encouraged. That's not fair. It's completely fair. And the answer is no. I'm not giving Cameron money. Not now. Not ever. You've changed, she whispered. You used to be so kind. No. I used to be a doormat. Now I have boundaries. Before she could answer, I blocked the number. My hands were shaking again, but this time from power, not fear. Marcus walked in, saw my face, and grabbed 2 beers. To boundaries, he said. I clinked his bottle. To boundaries. But inside, the guilt still twisted like a knot I couldn't quite untangle. Because even though they'd hurt me, even though they'd used me, they were still my parents. Still my brother. and part of me wondered if I was turning into the villain of their story. But that feeling didn't last. Because a month later, a letter showed up on my kitchen table, hand-delivered by my mother, with one request. $15,000. I wrote a letter back. A letter they never expected. A letter that would crack our family open. And ironically start the first real change any of them had made in years. The letter my mom dropped on my kitchen table was thick, too thick, like it was padded with guilt or emotional manipulation, maybe both. I opened it. Read every desperate line. Jake, we're drowning. Cameron's depressed, not eating, not working. We need $15,000 to get him into a debt program and cover his expenses. Please. Don't let him fall apart. If not for him, then for us. It ended with, "He's your brother." I read it twice, then wrote something I never thought I'd have the spine, or the clarity, to write. A reply. Not emotional. Not cruel. Just true. Mom. I'm not giving Cameron money. Not $15,000. Not $1. Here's why. You called my career playing pretend with metal. You told me Cameron was building a life. And I wasn't. You prioritized his apartment move over my certification exam, something I worked 2 years for. You gave Cameron everything. I got nothing. And somehow, you expect me to save him now that his life collapsed? No. Giving him money won't fix him. It will just delay the consequences he needs to face. Let him fall. Let him hit bottom. That's how adults learn. And maybe when he rebuilds himself, like I had to, we can talk. Jake. I mailed it. Didn't expect a response. Didn't get one. But something happened anyway, something I didn't plan, didn't push for, and honestly didn't believe my parents were capable of. They cut Cameron off. 2 months later, Uncle Tom called. Jake, you sitting down? That's never a good sign. Your parents finally did it. They stopped paying Cameron's bills. What? Gave him an ultimatum, get a job or get out. My eyebrows nearly welded themselves to my forehead. He's working at Target now. Part-time. Overnight stocking. Been there 3 weeks. I blinked hard. Cameron? Working? At Target? Showing up on time, Uncle Tom added. Complaining nonstop, but showing up. I didn't know what to feel. Relief? Petty satisfaction? Confusion? All of the above plus a side of disbelief? Uncle Tom chuckled. Between you and me, I think your letter scared some sense into them. After we hung up, I sat on my couch for a long time. Cameron. Working a real job. No BMW. No $2,600 apartment. No Instagram brand building nonsense. Just a blue vest, a pallet jack, and reality. For the first time, I felt something that wasn't anger. Maybe pity. Maybe hope. 4 months later, my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. It's Cameron. My stomach tightened. Another message. I know I don't deserve a reply. But I wanted to say I'm sorry. For everything. I was wrong about you. About your career. About expecting you to fix my life. Another message. I'm working hard. Therapy twice a month. Trying to get my finances in order. I'm not asking for anything. Just wanted you to know I'm trying. I stared at the messages for a long time. Then typed. Good luck. Press send. Didn't block him. Didn't offer more. Marcus asked me later how I felt. Honestly. I don't know, I said. Maybe it's a start. 6 months later, Aunt Linda called. Jake, your grandma's 82 this weekend. Big party. You going? Yeah. I think I am. At the party, Cameron approached me, healthier, calmer, not performing confidence for once. Hey, Jake. Hey. He shifted awkwardly. I heard about your promotion. Project supervisor. That's huge. Thanks. Silence. Then. I'd like to talk sometime. When you're ready. No pressure. I nodded once. Maybe. We kept it surface level after that. Safe. Civil, controlled. And for the first time in years, I left a family event without feeling like I needed to bleach my soul afterward. 6 months later, Cameron texted again. Hey, would you want to grab coffee sometime? I stared at the screen. Not yes. Not no. Just maybe. Because something was happening, not forgiveness, not yet, but something realer than anything we'd had before. A crack of space. A slow thaw. A potential future. But the final shift, the thing that closed the arc on everything, would come the day I invited my family into my home. The house Welding built. Cameron and I didn't get coffee right away. I kept putting it off, partly because of work, partly because I wasn't sure whether seeing him would crack open old wounds I'd finally gotten to scar over. But after a month of back-and-forth texts, all painfully polite, I eventually said, Okay. Saturday. 3 p.m., Neutral Cafe. No expectations. He showed up early, which, for Cameron, was basically a personality transplant. He stood when I walked in. He looked different. Not beaten down like before, but not inflated with ego either. He looked like someone who'd spent the last year eating a huge, bitter slice of humble pie and finally learned how to swallow it. Hey, Jake, he said. Hey. We ordered coffee. Saturday. For the first 30 seconds, we both pretended to admire the plant on the table like it was a museum exhibit. Then Cameron exhaled. I was a jerk, he said. To you. For a long time. I didn't respond. Let him keep going. I thought success was, I don't know, aesthetics. The apartment, the car, the brand. I thought wearing a suit made me better than you. He grimaced. I thought I was actually going somewhere. You weren't, I said softly. You were living on a credit card Jenga tower. He nodded. Yeah. I know that now. A long silence stretched between us. But it wasn't hostile. Just honest. I'm not asking you to forgive me, he added. I know I have no right to that. I wanted you to know I'm trying to become someone who deserves a second chance someday. It wasn't big or dramatic. It wasn't a movie moment. Just two brothers sitting across from each other, talking like adults for the first time in our lives. And weirdly, it felt okay. Not healed. Not repaired. But possible. After that, we met for coffee once a month. Sometimes twice. Always on neutral ground. He talked about work, how Target was both humbling and stabilizing. How therapy was forcing him to stop seeing himself as the protagonist of everyone's life. I talked about welding projects, job sites, the house. The pride of building something real. He listened. Really listened. The biggest change wasn't that he talked less. It was that he assumed less. One evening, after 8 months of cautiously rebuilding whatever we were now, he asked, Do you ever think we could be close? Like actual brothers? I thought about it. Really thought. Maybe, I said. But it has to grow. Not be forced. And it won't look like before. Before sucked. He laughed, a small, real laugh. Yeah, he said. Before sucked. 3 months after that, I finally bought the house. Small 3-bedroom, fixer-upper yard, but mine. Mine in a way nothing had ever been before. Cameron heard from Aunt Linda before I had a chance to mention it. He texted, Dude, you bought a house? That's amazing. I sent a photo of the empty living room. He replied, I'm proud of you. For real. That was a sentence I never thought I'd hear from him. 2 weeks after moving in, I got the letter from my parents. Handwritten. Careful. Trying too hard. Jake. We don't expect forgiveness. We just hope, someday, for a conversation. We're proud of you. We should have said it years ago. I didn't respond. But I didn't throw it out either. I put it in a drawer. A month later, Grandma's birthday rolled around. I went. No hesitation this time. No dread. My parents saw me across the room, and instead of rushing me or cornering me or ambushing me with financial emergencies, they simply nodded. Respectful. Careful. Almost reverent. Cameron hugged me like we hadn't spent 3 years ripping each other's lives apart. And you know what? It didn't feel fake anymore. 2 months later, I took the biggest step yet. I invited them, all three, to see the house. Small visit. 30 minutes. No pressure. Mom cried. Dad shook my hand like I was someone he finally respected. Cameron brought a plant, a real one this time, not metaphorical guilt fertilizer. We had coffee at my kitchen table. They didn't ask for money. Didn't bring up the past. Didn't step out of line. They treated me like an equal. Maybe for the first time ever. When they left, Mom whispered, "Thank you for letting us in. We'll go slow. Your pace. Your rules." And for once, she meant it. As the door closed behind them, I realized something. I didn't need their approval anymore. I didn't need the apologies to be perfect. I didn't need the past to be erased. What I had now, the life I'd built, was solid. Strong. Welded together by my own hands. And if they wanted to exist on the edges of that life, with respect and humility, maybe there was room. Not because I needed them, but because I didn't. The evening after my parents visited the house, I sat alone in the living room, lights low, the faint hum of the refrigerator filling the silence. It was the first time the place felt like a home instead of just a new project. Maybe because I'd finally let them see it. Maybe because nothing catastrophic happened when I did. I wasn't naive. One peaceful visit didn't erase years of hierarchy, favoritism, and emotional landmines. But it did prove something important. I could let them in, without letting them take over. A boundary held is a powerful thing. A week later, Cameron texted me. Got approved for a better apartment. Nothing fancy, but it's mine. Thought you'd want to know. He sent a photo, a small one-bed unit with beige carpets and a balcony barely big enough for a chair. But he looked proud standing in it, not performative, not bragging, just proud of himself. Congrats, I wrote. Looks good. Thanks, he replied. I wouldn't have gotten this far without, well, everything that happened. I stared at the message for a full minute before answering. You did this part yourself. He sent a single reply. That means a lot. 2 months later, I ran into him at a hardware store, and it wasn't weird. He was buying shelving brackets. I was buying sandpaper I absolutely did not need but convinced myself I did. He waved. Hey, Jake. Hey. You think this is the right kind of bracket? He asked, holding up a flimsy little piece of metal that would bend if you sneezed too hard. For what? Holding up books. No, I said immediately. He laughed. Okay, noted. We walked the aisle together, and it struck me how normal it felt. No tension. No resentment simmering under the surface. Just 2 guys comparing hardware. Before we parted, he said, Thanks for giving me room to grow. I shrugged. You grew because you decided to. He nodded. Still, thanks. Around that time, work picked up fast. Pipeline work turned into refinery work. Refinery work turned into supervising crews on expansion projects. 8 welders under me became 14. My boss started talking about long-term roles, real leadership roles. One Friday, he pulled me aside. Jake, you ever consider getting your inspector certification? That's a big leap. Serious money. My heart did a little jump. Inspector certs were no joke. Intense study, strict exams, serious career potential. How big? I asked. He named a number with 6 figures I'd only imagined in hypothetical daydreams. I nearly swallowed my tongue. You think I'm ready? I asked. He clapped my shoulder. You were ready last year. You just didn't know it yet. That night, I signed up for the prep course. And for the first time in my life, studying didn't feel like a lonely climb against the world's expectations. It felt like leveling up. When I told Cameron I'd enrolled, he surprised me. "Dude, that's huge. I'm proud of you." Again. "Yeah," I said, a little awkward. "Thanks." Then he said something that lingered. "You always had discipline. I just didn't see it. Or maybe I didn't want to." I didn't have a response for that. He didn't need one. My parents tried to come back into my orbit slowly, carefully, like skittish animals that had finally realized the fence they kept bumping into was electric. They texted sometimes. Briefly. Respectfully. "Your dad fixed the lawnmower today. Hope your week's going well. Your mom made lasagna. She says she'll make you your own pan if you want some." I didn't say yes. But I didn't ignore them either. Small steps. Controlled movement. On my terms. 6 months into inspector certification prep, I hit burnout. Hard. Long days supervising job sites, long nights studying codes and metallurgy, and somewhere in between, life tugging at my sleeve. One night around midnight, sitting at my kitchen table, head in my hands, I felt my phone buzz. "Cameron. You awake?" "Barely," I typed back. He sent a video. It was him assembling a new bookshelf. Badly. Wrong screws, misaligned panels, pure chaos. Then he flipped the camera. "Bro, help." I burst out laughing, the first genuine laugh I'd had in weeks. I drove over. Helped him fix the disaster. He made boxed mac and cheese as payment. We talked. Not big talk. Just small, normal talk. But somewhere between the bookshelf and the cheap pasta, he said, "Mom and Dad are trying. You know that, right?" I nodded. "And I know it doesn't erase anything," he added. "But I think they're finally learning how to see you." I didn't respond. But he wasn't wrong. A few weeks later, Mom texted. "Would love to drop off lasagna. Only if that's okay. If not, that's okay too." The fact she added the second sentence told me everything had changed. I let her drop it off. She didn't come inside. Didn't ask. Didn't hover. Just handed me the foil pan with a soft smile. "I'm learning," she said quietly. "I know it's late. But I'm learning." For once, I believed her. And that's when things truly settled. Not perfectly. Not magically. But in a way that felt real. Earned. Stable. Welded together, not forced together. The morning of my inspector certification exam, I woke up before sunrise, calm, steady, not the frantic kid I'd been the last time I sat for a life-changing test. I brewed coffee, reviewed my notes one last time, and drove out to the testing center with the quiet conviction of someone who built his confidence brick by brick. The exam was brutal. Pages of codes, tolerances, safety regulations, metallurgy questions that felt like riddles. Hours passed. My hand cramped. My brain smoked. But when I walked out into the cool afternoon air, I knew I'd earned whatever came next. 3 weeks later, the email hit my inbox. "Congratulations. You have passed the certified welding inspector examination." I sat down right there on my kitchen floor and laughed, not from disbelief, but from the strange, steady joy of finally seeing my life align with the work I'd put into it. I didn't call my parents. I didn't call Cameron. I just sat with it first. Let it be mine. Later that week, I invited them all over, Mom, Dad, and Cameron. Just a small Sunday dinner. My house. My rules. My life. When they walked in, there was no tension. No expectations. Just quiet respect. We ate. Talked lightly. Cameron asked about the exam. Dad asked to see the garage workshop. Mom asked if I needed curtains, then caught herself and added, "Only if you want them." Near the end of the night, as they stood by the door putting on their coats, Dad cleared his throat. "Jake, we're proud of you. Truly." Mom nodded, eyes glossing. "Not because we want anything. Just because you built this. All of it." Cameron stepped forward. And thanks for giving me space to grow. If we ever become close again, it'll be because I earned it. I didn't hug them. Didn't break down. Didn't offer absolution. But I opened the door for them to leave, and realized I had also opened another door inside myself. Not forgiveness. Not forgetfulness. Just room. Room for the version of them who existed now, not the version who once told me I was playing pretend with metal. After they left, I stood in my living room, hand on the light switch. Inspector certification plaque on the counter. Work boots by the door. A life welded together with patience, boundaries, and grit. And for the first time in my life, I didn't feel like I was proving anything to anyone. I had simply become myself. That was enough. That was everything.